My name is Randi Reppen, and I teach at Northern Arizona University. And today I'm going to talk to you about brainstorming, the process, and the product. Since this does not have a live video feed, I thought it might be nice for you to see what I look like and also to see a photo of the campus where I teach and where I live. Let's get started. I have 4 goals for this presentation. First, I want to highlight the important role of brainstorming in successful academic writing. Second, I want to talk a little bit about the process and the product of brainstorming. And then I want to spend the most time in this presentation showing you some examples of different brainstorming activities and also showing how different brainstorming activities are more useful for different or certain types of writing tasks. And then we'll wrap up. So let's get started. The important role of brainstorming. Before we think about the role of brainstorming, we should think a little bit about what is brainstorming. If we're going to talk about it, we should make sure we're all on the same page. So brainstorming is getting ideas, gathering information, and providing material to begin writing. So if we're going to write, we have to have something to write about, and brainstorming is where we generate those ideas. Brainstorming is not a solo activity. In so many of our classes, we see brainstorming as a time when we tell students, okay, here's the topic, or pick a topic, think about what you want to write about, brainstorm some ideas, and then get started writing. It's true, it does start as a solo process, but it does not end there. Interaction with classmates helps to clarify ideas, and it also identifies needed and or missing information. Many times when we've been thinking about something or reading and then going to write about something, we have so much knowledge in our head that we fail to sometimes make some of that knowledge that we have in our head that we're so familiar with to make it clear for a reader who's going to be reading or writing. So brainstorming is an important place to start that process. It's also a means for organizing ideas and information. Brainstorming provides a really important foundation that supports successful academic writing. So now we're going to look a little bit at the process and the product of brainstorming. The process, it activates prior knowledge. It helps us to think about what we know about a topic. It also helps us realize if we need more information about that topic, particularly if we're writing an informational piece of an informational essay. It also helps us to generate the material for the writing that we're going to be tackling. So that's part of the process. And then through interaction with classmates, again, remember, not a solo process, brainstorming identifies areas where we need more information or where we maybe need to add some clarification. So this is the process. The product then is taking that information that we've generated and getting it organized, providing a framework for writing. In a sense, when we've finished the process of brainstorming, the product is an organized set of ideas that actually provides a roadmap for our writing task. So here's the part where we're going to spend most of our time. We're going to look at some examples of the process and the product related to brainstorming, and you're going to see how this is an iterative or cyclical process. So the process begins with questions to self and then moves on to discussion with a partner or a group of classmates. Again, emphasizing this is not a solo activity. We have to have that interaction to know which of our ideas are clear and well-grounded. And then the process is continued by gathering and organizing information. And now the product is organized information. And I'm going to show you 4 types of graphic organizers. One is an idea map that's really useful for just a general informational essay or a description. The second is a T-chart, which is particularly useful when taking a position or writing an argumentative essay. And finally, we're going to look at using two types of graphic organizers to do a compare and contrast writing task. So here's the idea map. And the topic I've chosen as our example for the idea map is describing your favorite dish. And you might be thinking, oh gosh, we have students do that topic, but I don't know, is it a good topic? And I'd say yes, it is a good topic, especially for beginning writers. We want topics that are familiar to them, that they have knowledge, that they have an opinion, and that they have the ability to describe or tell about this topic. So just, all students have a favorite dish, and they certainly know what's involved with that favorite. So here we're going to have some questions, of course, and you'll notice this throughout the examples of brainstorming. We almost always have questions. So in this case, we might be asking, what is the dish made of? What does it taste like? What's it served with? When do people eat it? Why do you like it? And then you're going to talk with a classmate and add any additional information. It might be the case that people eat it during a particular celebration, and that celebration might not be familiar, and a classmate might ask for more information about that celebration when your favorite dish is eaten. Then we're going to use an idea map to organize the information. So in the center here, you'd have your favorite dish, and then you'd have notes about what's it made of, what does it taste like, what's it served with, and then, of course, you can add some more idea bubbles about when people eat it or anything else that came up during the brainstorming session with your class. Next, we're going to look at a T-chart, and this is most useful for taking a position or writing an argument. Again, we're going to make notes related to questions, and in this case, we're going to be using facts that support the argument. So you want to have notes about facts that are relevant to supporting your argument, but you also want to know what an opposing argument is, what might be detrimental to the position you're taking, and you want to know what facts might weaken that opposing argument. So this is an important part. So then, again, discuss your ideas with a partner, use that feedback to edit your notes, and then here we're going to organize our information in a T-chart. So we're going to put the positive or supporting facts for our argument on this side, and we're going to put the negative ones, or the ones that can oppose our argument, on this side. And this provides a very valuable resource for us to be sure that we're including facts that might help to negate the negative arguments. A possible next step in an argumentative task for more advanced writers might be to write a thesis statement based on the brainstorming activity that had just been done, and then have maybe the first and second argument along with writing down supporting information. So this builds on the brainstorming and starts to develop a useful resource for a student getting ready to write a paper. The final graphic organizers that I'm going to show you is a two-step process in writing a compare and contrast task. And given our current situation of many of us teaching online, many of us more used to face-to-face teaching, I think this was an appropriate topic for us to use as a seed for looking at this type of brainstorming and graphic organizers. So in this case, you would make notes related to the two types of learning. So writing details and information related to online learning, and then details and information related to face-to-face learning. And remember, this is a compare and contrast task. So then you want to write details and information that these formats, these two different types of learning, might share. So in this case, maybe these were some of the ideas that you came up with in your brainstorming, and some of them may relate more to online or face-to-face. And in this case, using a table and checking whether this relates in a stronger sense to online or face-to-face, or maybe both. So we could look at relies heavily on technology, and maybe we think, oh, that relates to online. But maybe in your face-to-face classroom, you rely on technology a lot. So it could be that this one might relate to both. So in any event, you're going to use this table or a table like this with your ideas here to identify which ones relate to online, which ones relate to face-to-face, and which relate to both, because remember, we're doing compare, contrast. Then we would take that information and we would put the information that relates specifically to online learning here, would put the information that relates specifically to face-to-face learning here, and then the information that they share would go in this overlapping portion of the Venn diagram. And I think this is a nice way to see how using information gathering in your beginning brainstorming process, talking to a classmate or classmates about your ideas, and then using a table with the specifics of each aspect and then what might be shared, and then putting this in a Venn diagram can be a really, really useful 3-step process, or actually 4-step process to brainstorming that then will help you with a really solid beginning for your writing task. So to wrap up, I know this has been a whirlwind process, but to wrap up, I want to make sure that we showed that brainstorming is really useful to get ideas down and gather information for writing, that it is not a solo activity. It involves interacting with peers, and this is really, really important. It really helps. And I also want to hope that you saw the graphic organizer examples that I gave you, the 4 types, and that you could see how different organizers are better suited for certain writing tasks. For example, the Venn diagram for compare contrast, the T-chart for an argument, and the idea map for a more general type or a descriptive task. So I hope that through this presentation, you've seen how the process and the product of brainstorming provides a really solid foundation that supports academic writing. Thank you very much, and I hope that you have enjoyed my presentation.